Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is John Koski and I want to thank you for showing up tonight for the Doctor's Subconscious Show. And I really want to apologize because the last time I sent out one of these shows, I put it on Facebook and I invited a lot of people to look at it, and it ended up being a conversation or a discussion that a lot of people, or some people, a few people didn't want to be involved with, and it was kind of hard for them to get out of the loop. And that was the mechanism of Facebook. We are closing on nearly 2,000 viewers, which is amazing. So I really want to thank everybody. I really appreciate your support. I got a note from my editor today. My assistant editor was in the wings, and things are just going so well considering everything that's happened here in this country. Tonight we're going to talk about orgasms for men and women. Yay! And when we talk about orgasms for men and women, I just want to say a couple things. First off, hypnosis is a natural blend because orgasms, whether you know this or not, they're all in your head. Okay? And I'm going to prove that to you, and I'm going to show you how to use hypnosis to have a better orgasm, whether you're a man or a woman. Okay? So, people don't like to talk about sex because, first off, they think it's dirty or sinful. And I can remember as a kid growing up around horses and breeding farms that the stable owner was concerned about me watching horses being bred. And of course, I had to go home and ask my mother. And my mother looked at me, who was from South Dakota and been around livestock her whole life, and thought it was funny and disgusting that people would even ask. And she said basically that people make a big thing out of nothing. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. Even though we're talking about orgasm here tonight, we're talking about young adults, high school students, and junior high, and perhaps as low as 5th and 6th grade when you first have your first wet dream. So you know, the mind is so powerful. And when you can direct the mind into a positive direction, you're going to get positive results. And that's what we're after tonight. So don't let somebody, you know, like my dad, who walked in. I was asleep. I had my first wet dream. And, of course, he was a strict Catholic. And he made me feel guilty. Well, I didn't feel guilty. It wasn't my fault. I mean, these things kind of happen, but that's the power of the mind, that you can actually have an ejaculation without trying, just because the mind is so powerful. So go with it. You know, wet dreams start in junior high, and it's a natural part of life. So, you know, don't make your kids feel guilty about it. Start talking to them about it. It's like, hey, this stuff happened. Another thing that happened to me recently is crazy hot sex dreams that felt so real in the middle of the night. I had one of these ex-girlfriends last night. She, of course, kept her clothes on down to her bra, but it was still very, very lively and fun and interesting for me to go through that. Of course, it didn't go anywhere because she's an ex-girlfriend, and you know me and my strict policies. Anyway, there are some of those individuals out there that can have a think-off. And a think-off is simply being, like, for myself, I'll be driving down the road and let's say that I just want to kill some time, and I'll put myself into an imaginary stage play of some sexual event, and I can daydream a sexual experience, maybe not to completion, but close enough where it's lots and lots of fun. And by the time I get done with my little story, because it is actually difficult to think the whole thing through. It's probably easier for me because I meditate a bunch, use hypnosis around the clock, and so if you do the same thing, you're obviously going to be really, really good at it, and you're going to be able to do the same thing. Now, I do have this lawyer friend, lady friend, that tells me she can have an orgasm while she's on the phone, as long as she can hit the mute button. which for me that says that she's having some vocal experience with her think off. So I think that's really, really interesting that certain people can do that. Let's go into Viagra. And I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about Viagra because a lot of my friends will bring it up. And I'm going to tell you this. It's very, very dangerous. It was discovered by accident. And one of the accidental things that can happen is you could hurt yourself. You can hurt your genitals, where you can never have an orgasm again, or without serious medical help. So don't do it without a doctor's consent. And it's not one of these recreational drugs that you can just pass on and sell, because it may work great. It may work great for a lot of people 100 times in a row, but 101 can lead to permanent damage, so don't do it. Alright, let's get into hypnosis and orgasms. Alright, I want to talk about men first. I've used this technique for the last, I don't know, ever. 15 years, maybe 20 years. And you first have to understand the male anatomy. And what is it about? Well, in order for the male to have an erection and ejaculation, it's about blood flow. So many men go to work and are so uptight about their jobs and everything else that stress reduces blood flow in the vascular system. That's where hypertension comes from. So you first have to learn to relax and not think about sex if you're a man. So let's say, for example, I want to have sex at 9 o'clock. I will go in and meditate around 8:30 because it takes about 20 minutes. So by the time 9 o'clock comes rolling around, when my significant other joins me in bed, she will have taken a shower, done whatever she wants to do, and taken a bath, and then we can enjoy the act of lovemaking. For the women, I recommend going in or having a meditation. For the men is given a tape and you listen to it with headphones on and submerge yourself into relaxation in bed. For women, I recommend that you go into an imaginary trip where you're sexually involved with, let's say, an Olympian of your choice. You see them. You go to Las Vegas and you see the statues, and there they are with perfect muscle tone and perfect hair and perfect skin tone. Or anyone that really turns you on. I suggest having it be an imaginary character, because if you use somebody like your boss, that's not cool, because that's kind of like stepping over the boundaries of ethics and morals. And what you want to do is you want to live in fantasy, so that really what you're doing is you're training your mind and your body to react to a certain suggestion that's given to you in a hypnotic state of mind, not in reality. Okay? And that can be very, very beneficial. You can train yourself to do that at any given time. You can go on lunch break, anytime where you're not operating a machine or driving your car, because again, we are in a light trance, and I think it's really, really healthy. But again, keep it on the fantasy level, and there is basically no limits. You might want to limit it, maybe not angels and demons and stuff like that, but the rest of it's totally cool. Does it work? Absolutely. It's phenomenal. It works for both men and women. I've given suggestions for women and they've just gone through the roof. They're absolutely happy with it. They have a huge successful sexual experience with their spouses, with their significant others. The men are more relaxed, they take their time, and they enjoy sex for what it is. My name is John Koski. This is the Dr. Subconscious Show. And again, leave a comment. I want to thank everybody for helping me out, getting to nearly 2,000 viewers. It's been really, really cool. And I'll see you again. Have a good day.